Welcome everybody, my name is Mr. Llama, and today I am bringing you PvP defending against the cannon rush on Antiga Shipyard. So this was a specific map, specific video, because it was requested multiple times, and I had already done kind of like a cannon rush defense and stuff in PvP, but that doesn't quite work on Antiga Shipyard because of course there is all of this fun stuff where they can block themselves in and drop a cannon down there, and then they can block themselves in up here, and I mean there's a whole lot of stuff. So for this video today, I have brought in my friend Quantic LM, aka Laughing Man. Of course, Quantic has disbanded, but Laughing Man, and he's actually a 1300 Masters player and a cannon rusher, right? So that is his specialty, is cannon rushing, and he is quite good at it. He did learn from Galzi himself, and so he has been trained by the master cannon rusher and is quite good. And so I brought him along and I said, you know what, this is something that I think people need help with, and so I want to go ahead and show them how to defend it. So he is going to be cannon rushing me on Antiga Shipyard. I'm going to go ahead and play this out very standard until, of course, I scout it, right? So whenever I play these games, I know he's going to cannon rush me, right? But I'm not going to react like he's cannon rushing me until I know that he is cannon rushing me. And I'm actually going to go through a couple of games as well, because I want to make sure you can see various ways that he can do it. So here I grab a 13 gate, 15 gas. I double chrono on my Nexus here for my probes. I'm just opening up very standard, right? Trying to not, make it seem like I'm preparing or anything like that for cannon rush, because I'm not. I'm just playing a very standard game, yada yada yada. Here I go ahead and grab my second pylon at 16. Everything is normal. I go ahead to go put 3 guys on gas, and boom, instantly I would like to stop right here. So the first thing that we'd like to note is we see that he has thrown down the pylon, and he's of course going to throw down the second pylon right here. This is the one of the cannon spots for the cannon rush, and the simple reason is because you can block yourself in. So the first reaction that I'm going to have is I'm going to save my chrono boost because I want this for a zealot. Next, I was putting guys on gas. I'm going to remove these guys from gas, and the reason being is because I want to stop all of this. I feel like some people like to rush up to the stalker, but I mean, I've watched replay after replay of people trying to rush to the stalker and keeping guys in gas, and they just don't have enough minerals to pull all of the probes necessary to defend the cannon rush and to chrono out the zealots, and then of course work towards the stalker as well. Like, there's too many probes for all that, and so they end up not pulling enough probes to defend the cannon rush, not blocking the spots, and it ends up killing them. So the first thing, like I said, is I want to get down here because I want to weaken one of these pylons as much as I can and maybe pick off this probe if it pokes out and I can get it. So we'll go ahead and watch there. I pull these guys off gas. 6 guys I pull. This is a good number to pull because you can get 6 guys around this pylon right here, and they will go ahead and attack this pylon. Additionally, now that we've moved a couple seconds forward, chrono boosting out this zealot, right? This is very important. I want to have this out as fast as I can for the future, and on top of this, I have a probe up here patrolling back and forth here. The reason that I have this probe patrolling, and this is very important, is because you have to think in the future. You have to see ahead. What can this pylon give right here? Well, this pylon can give, first off, the cannon down here, where he is going to place a cannon. But additionally, when they cannon rush, they don't just have one probe, they have a couple of probes generally, and they can then place cannons and pylons and such up here, and there are many ways to block yourself in when you're up here. So you can drop a cannon there, and then you could drop a pylon there and make it so only like one probe can attack. You can go pylon or like gateway right here, and then a pylon there and pylon here, and block yourself in right there. There are many spots to block yourself in, and so I want to make sure that I have something that can get in there and block that. Everything else, still just mining minerals at this time. We can go ahead and continue on. I'm just attacking this pylon right here. I want to weaken this pylon. I want to be able to kill this pylon, and I could have actually stayed on that. I decided to go after this probe a little bit because I saw it poke out. You don't even have to do that. Six probes on this pylon is a good sum right here, and I'm going to be able to take it out and pause because this is important. So what I should have done with these 6 probes is as soon as they killed that pylon, I should have pressed shift, pressed A, and then pressed on this cannon here, so they would instantly shift Q and start attacking this cannon as well. That would be very helpful, very good thing to do. So here's where I see him moving up, right? Like I was saying before, they'll place a cannon on the high ground. Here we can see the cannon has been placed on the high ground right here. And so by having this probe here, I can prevent this block, this pylon going down and like a gateway or whatever. I can prevent that block. I also have another probe over here to kind of just get in the way. This is the big thing you want to do right now, is get in the way. Additionally, we have a second zealot on the way right now. So this zealot will get out in time to be able to stop this or get down here and attack this cannon. So we'll see. Here I'm going to continue moving these probes, but not completely leaving that. And here I'm going to go ahead and send the zealot down here. And now that I have a zealot and probe attacking this cannon, I feel pretty good that I can kill it by the health that it is at this time. So I'm going to bring these probes up here to do a little bit more damage. So we can continue to move on. I have these probes. I'm going to go ahead and send them back mining. And the reason for this, I should have actually just sent them to this cannon immediately. But the bigger thing is I want to make sure that he's not getting this block. Notice how I moved my probes right there to get in the way of any sort of block that could go down. Because he could block himself in here, here, and right there, and then have this spot for cannoning. I mean, there are a lot of spots that players can drop their cannons. So I pull these probes over here to deal with this, because this is more important right now. I have a second zealot on the way. I have this zealot on here, which is going to survive. I can deal with this cannon very soon. For now, though, I want to be dealing with preventing blocks from going down. So this probe's going to do that. And here I make sure, see, I have the probe right there. I have these probes kind of over here. They could go ahead and start attacking this cannon, and I'll go ahead and kill off this cannon here. I do lose a couple of probes there, but I'm not too worried, as I have defended pretty well. And so now I have all these probes right here, and I can of course send them back to mining. I might want to leave one or something right here, which I do. Notice I keep the patrol because he still has this right here. So he tries to get in right there to once again kind of set this wall. But what do I have? I have a patrol there. I have a patrol right there, and he's not going to be able to get in and really do the blocks that he wants. He's going to come over here and see that would be a part of his block, but I've got this back here to block cannons going down. Plus he just doesn't have much. And with all of my probes and my zealots, I mean, this is pretty much going to be it. And the big thing that you have to realize is once you hold this, you're in such a superior position. I'd also like to note I have a cybernetics core going down at this point. So once I felt pretty safe, once I had gotten rid of everything that it was until that next probe came in, I started getting money, yada, yada, yada. I decided I could make a cybernetics core. I can just start advancing, right, moving forward. And then, of course, I also have my gateway here, which should have another zealot on the way. So that's something that I could even improve on in this game. So I kill off the probe, and there's really not much he can do. I've got patrols to make sure nothing's going on. I'm killing pylons left and right. I mean, he can try and go for a cannon there, but even then, I'm going to have a probe over here to stop this. I mean, it's always just being one step ahead of your opponent, being one step ahead of where his probes are. And so, like I said, this really, you know, he's going to try and come around here. I can just kill off his probe, and he can't get that block in there either, and so I can pick that off, and I have enough zealots now, and 3 zealots? Yeah, I have 3 zealots out, and I have enough that basically I've just held this. He's going to have to GG out of the game because he is really far behind at this point, as you can tell, and he has sent a lot of probes over, which I have killed off. So that is game number 1, and we will jump right on into game number 2. Welcome to game number 2. This is yet again how to hold the cannon rush, and this one's going to be a little bit different because this is going to be where he goes for a slightly different style, right? So in the other game, he went ahead and started down here and built himself in with the pylons. You can go ahead and go busy. But built himself in there with the pylons. And then, of course, had the cannon that he dropped in there, and then he tried to work his way up. Another way that, of course, cannon rushing can go on Antiga is they can start up top and then work their way down bottom, and then, of course, they can block themselves in up top because, like I said before, you have to be very careful with cannon rushers and with these spots. So one thing they can do is if they get a pylon up right here, they can get a cannon right here, and then they can block you out over here. So the only way you can attack is through this tiny little passage at this cannon right here, which isn't enough to stop it, and so it's going to go up. And then on top of that, once that finishes, he can get another one down here if he wants. He can get one over here. I mean, he can do whatever he wants at that point. Another one is they'll get a gateway right there, and then a pylon right there, and that pylon, and it blocks in a nice little spot right here. I mean, there's spots, right? You got to know these little spots all over the place. But the big thing is just stopping him from stopping where his probe is going to be, I suppose is what I want to say. So stop sitting there and saying, why is this probe moving over into here? I should probably not chase it with my probe, but instead I should get in there and block where it's going to be dropping, because the probe itself is not the threat. The threat is it blocking itself in and blocking in a cannon where I cannot attack it. And so that's what you have to kind of worry about. So here, I'm just playing very standard. Yet again, gonna go ahead and get this. And here, okay, we suddenly see, oops, my mouse just flipped out. So pause. So we have the pylon going down right now. Okay, so the reason that I split it like this, right? It's good to have the 5 probes on this pylon anyways, because of course they can pick off that pylon pretty quickly. But the main reason that I have this like this is for the split. Notice how I intentionally moved 2 probes over here, 3 over here. This is because if he wants to block in on this side of the pylon, I'm going to have probes over here to get in the way. If he wants to block in on this side, I'll have probes over here to get in the way. So you always want to be in the way of where he wants to put down his things. So here, he's not in the best, and what else am I doing right now? I'm pulling probes to go ahead and go down here. I like to pull 2, you can just pull 1 if you'd like, but you can patrol them down here because, of course, players like to, once this pylon gets up, they'll then go drop a cannon down low, and then pylons behind it, and then those will power, and then it'll come back up here. So here, I'm blocking, any sort of spot right here that a cannon could go down, and I'm also blocking down here, and he's actually going to head over here to try and get a little spot in here, but of course, I have my Zealot on the way. I accidentally chrono boosted my Nexus, I think, instead of my Gateway. So that was like, I was like, oh crap, I didn't mean to do that. So I do anyways. We can pause. I do pick off that pylon, and the good news is I'm feeling pretty safe over here, and the reasoning is because this Zealot is on the way, and I delayed a long time. It was a long time before I got these pylons down. Otherwise, I would say grab a probe right here and send it in here, or grab 2 probes even, send it in here. You can send 4 back over here to mine, but get in the way, right? But here, I mean, it's taking so long, and he doesn't have this blocked off that when a Zealot finally does get out, which now I can chrono boost it out, I will be okay to go ahead and attack this spot. So here I instantly pull these 4 probes to go ahead and meet him over there and start dealing with this pylon, and then of course I have the Zealot right here to do a lot of damage. Notice I am still patrolling these spots, right? I am still getting in the way because I still want to make sure that this cannon rush is not going up over here. This is something that they like to do. They'll throw you off over here, you spend all your attention over there, and then this dude comes in and throws down a cannon over there. So I'm going to be able to get in right there, like I said, because I have that Zealot. I have another Zealot on the way, and I can get over here to start dealing with this photon cannon which he has thrown down, and additionally I can pick off some probes if he does decide to attack my probes, and 1 Zealot right there will be fine to cancel that. If you want, you can have another probe, but now I have another Zealot. I've got all of my dudes, and notice here that I've put, by dudes I mean probes, notice here that I've now put the probe inside because I'm going to say, you know what, you're no longer allowed in here in case he goes for like a gateway. He could throw a cannon here and then like a gateway wall off or something and be a little harder to break down, right? So now, of course, he's just, kind of getting desperate, throwing down whatever he can, but I've got probes, I've got my Zealots out, and at this point, the game is over. He's forced to GG out, and yet again, we are very far ahead, so there would be no reason for him to not GG if he didn't just, get some guys on gas, get, you can work out a couple more Zealots if you want, get your Warp Gate, get your Cybernetics Core, and then your Warp Gate, and then you can go 4-gate him or whatever, because your Warp Gate is way ahead of his, because he has a Forge, right? He doesn't even have a Gateway down or a Cybernetics Core, so you are well ahead of anything that he would have, and of course, in PvP, that means you win. It's very, very simple at that point, but still, be cautious, right? I'm sending 1 dude up, because I'm going to go back to mining at this point, assuming he doesn't GG out. I'm going to go back to mining. I'm going to pull these guys and start mining here because I can now just deal with my Zealots to pick these off. But I'm still going to have, this 1 probe here. I'll probably pull 1 of these guys back to mining. Still maybe just have 1 right here. I mean, I have my Zealots. So at this point, I'm feeling pretty safe, but there's no reason to throw the game, and I think that's what something a lot of players do. And I mean, of course, with these Zealots out, I'm pretty fine, and the 3rd one chrono booster on the way. But a lot of people, they leave these spots as soon as this happens right here. They send everything over, all their probes, to go deal with all of this right here. And another probe sneaks in and goes block, cannon, and that pylon wasn't down or something, and then they just work their way up. So that is how to defend against a cannon rush on Antiga Shipyard. I know it's a little difficult. I know there's some micro involved, but the big thing is see it from your opponent's eyes. Where does your opponent want to go? Where are the spots? You have to look and say, oh, that's a great spot for a cannon if he blocks me out over here and over here, because then I can't attack it anywhere but in here. I want to be over here to prevent that from going down. just things like that. So with that being said, my name is Mr. Llama. Hope you guys learned something, and I will see you guys next time.